Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of Real Life Matters. Of course, I am your host, DBoss, and I just hope that everybody's been doing their 15 minutes or more or laughing per day. Yes, every day is the minimum 15 minutes. If you can do more, oh, I'm happy. So what you can do is that laughing has so many health benefits to you. It releases a lot of endorphins. It makes you feel better. It lowers your blood pressure. It also heals the body. It also can keep your abs toned. I not mean stop going to the gym, but it can keep your abs toned. And also it just makes you feel better. How you start your day is how people's going to receive you. So, a lot of people say, oh, maybe I don't have anybody to laugh with. Yes, you could call somebody. You could put on so many things. There's so many streaming opportunities and different things that's funny. Just put something on that you can laugh and you'll be all right. So I just want to everybody who has been doing it, I just thank you for doing it. It's going to make you feel a lot better and all that. And I'm going to be talking about later on the health benefits of coconut water and watermelon, also inclusive with the laughing. All right. So we're going to hear something from one of the sponsors, Vital Steps to Vital Health, and I'll be right back with our special guest.
Welcome to your vital steps to better health and fitness. I'm Joanne James. Today we're going to talk about the effects of no exercise on the muscles. Many people are spending a lot of time sitting at their desk and not exercising, as well as the internet has taken people out of the exercise realm and into sitting down and playing games on their phones. There's a major detriment to not exercising. When you don't exercise, your muscles become weak, and that impacts your bones. So now you have both weak muscles and weak bones. The other problem is you lose strength, and the daily activities that you like to do become more difficult. So it's important to be doing some form of exercise to keep the muscles toned. And thirdly, your body composition will change. You will end up getting more body fat and less muscle mass, which then tends to be unattractive, and you lose energy and you become more fatigued. So do yourself a favor. Get into a great exercise routine. Find somebody who can put you on a great program. Your body's going to love it. I'm Joanne James, and this has been your Vital Steps to Better Health and Fitness. Take care.
Thank you, Joanne James, for that tip. Well, we're going to get right into it. We have a section leader. I've had one of those on the show yet. He was a leader in the section for the Toronto Harmony All Stars, and their motto is they call it the big people ting. So we're gonna find out all about the big people ting from the section leader. So with no further ado, we're gonna get into it with Arthur Augustine.
Thank you, DBoss, for having me on your show.
That's no problem, Arthur. I'm telling you, it's been a pleasure. I've never had a section leader playing mass and all this other mass camps and stuff on the show here. But first, we like to know everybody's cultural background and where they come from.
Well, pretty well, most of the people in the mass camp are from the Caribbean. There are some of them that are North American born or born elsewhere, but we all get together to enjoy ourselves. Also, there's a lot of laughter, like Joanne has suggested, or you have suggested. There's a lot of laughter in the mass camp, a lot of entertainment, and a lot of joy. So it's an environment whereby people meet, socialize, and get to enjoy themselves from the daily hassle of work and family life. You meet in the mass camp, you crack jokes, you say things, you just blend in. Make yourself.
Right.
Yep.
So, all right. So where do you come from?
I'm originally from Trinidad.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I am from an area whereby mass is a vital part of that community, an area called Laventille. As a young kid, I was exposed to mass in my very early life. And from then, I've been loving it. And I've always been part of mass bands here in Canada and also across North America and the Caribbean. So I am knowledgeable on the whole mass issue.
So you're a pioneer then. You've been doing as a veteran pioneer, so you've been doing this for a long time.
I won't view myself as a pioneer, but I view myself as a diligent participant. I've followed great men who've built math, and I've learned from the best. To call myself a pioneer is too much credit, but I'm an humble, a humble participant.
Okay, so what made you? You said you came from Laventille in Trinidad. So what made you want to become involved with the mass?
Laventille have always had a sense of pride in the Trinidad culture. Laventille is where some of the most knowledgeable massmen originated, as it is said that Pan actually started in Laventille, and along with Pan, the steel drums, came the masqueraders. It has this history going back into to slavery days, which I'm not going to get into in any much details, but math has always been a vital part of Laventille and its environs. When I was quite young, I played the steel drums, and I left Trinidad. I traveled abroad, and I wanted to see the culture. And the culture has been alive wherever there are two or three Trinidadians. You would find some sort of a mass setting because it is such a joyful part of our culture. It is such a joyful part of our community again. And I have to revert back to say it makes people happy. It's an environment whereby you can enjoy yourself.
All right. So give us some history. You're doing it here in Canada and the Toronto mass makers. So can you tell us when you started this here in for part of Canadian history?
When I came to Canada back in the early 70s, Caribana, at the time it was called,
Yes.
had already started. So I got involved. It was, I think it kind of, the event actually started in 1967 under the name Caribana, as I've mentioned. It was part of the Canada Centennial celebration. It has grown since then into a major event. It is now considered one of North America's largest Caribbean event. It attracts people from all over the world just to come here in Toronto, Canada, to experience what we have as Carabana. So it's been around before my time, but I've also contributed because the older heads, as they move on, new people become involved, and eventually I will move on, and those that are involved in it now will become the leaders of tomorrow. So again, Carnival and those events has its roots way back in slavery days when the emancipation of slavery and then the slaves were freed and they used that celebration to enjoy themselves. They dressed up in different costumes and gowns to show that they were free and to express their cultural beliefs. And it gives a big rise. Uh, Trinidad inherited that way back then. And it has
Okay.
become a thing of beauty for Trinidad and Trinidadians. And as you are aware, it has spread all over the Caribbean. So carnival events can be found actually all over the globe. Again, along with steel band, along with the carnival, we have the steel band, which also originated in Trinidad in the area of Laventille. So for me and for the carnival events, it is of a vital part of our culture. When you hear of Trinidadians or hear of Trinidad, you think of carnival and the aspect of it, but that's not all to carnival. It's an environment of learning, it's an environment of teaching, and an environment of getting people together from all over the globe. As you
All
can tell, for carnival in Trinidad, uh, people from all over the universe comes to Trinidad.
Okay. So what does a section leader do? For people that don't know out there what that means and what that
A
person does.
section leader is an individual like myself who has a great love for math. Uh, Oftentimes, a math is comprised of various sections, and
Okay.
various sections mean different types of costume. It could be you playing like a queen, or you're playing a bat, a section of a bat. You know the bat that flies at night.
Yes.
Right. So if you are participating in the bat section, you become the section leader. You're the person in charge of that particular group. Another person may be playing, let's say, an African costume or an African display. You become the head of that section and that costume. So you become the actual section leader or the
Oh, so that's how it works.
yeah. So different displays have the leader. And then when we all meet, we have meetings, we construct how the band is going to run along with the actual band leader who is in charge of the whole band. So it's like
Okay.
a hierarchy sort of a setup.
So you have done these section leaders and part of all of this for so many years. So how do you know what section you going to be in as the the section leader, because you've been doing it for so long? You're in the main section, or
Well, along with the band leader, whose name is John Augustine, a cousin of mine, we've been
no?
planning this for many years. The name of the band is Epic. We're one of the strong contenders. We always run in the first five, and we are a very strong band. We started off in Durham region, where I live, and we've now moved to our campus in Toronto on Morningside, just north of Shepherd. And
Okay.
we will plan after the last carnival parade. We will get together during the year and plan what are we going to be doing for the next season, and that's
Okay.
when we decide what we're going to be playing and what sections and how many sections that we will have for the event. So, being a person who is quite knowledgeable in the mass business, I've decided to play a section that's not often seen, but it's a section that a lot of people like to play in. It's away from the major costume with the feathers and all those beautiful things. It's a costume, we call it sailor. It's called
Okay.
the name of our section is called All Aboard. And
All aboard.
that is a sailor costume. The reason why I like this sailor costume, most of the costumes that are being played are more skimpy, less clothing. But I like the sailor costume because number one, it's very inexpensive. That's number one.
Oh.
Yeah. Number two, it's lightweight. It's
Okay.
lightweight. It's not the big headpiece and all the knapsack and all the fancy shoes and stuff that the mask that we have in the other sections. It's more of what I would call a conservative type of mask playing.
Okay.
And usually, as you know, most sailors wear white, and it's
Yes.
an easy costume for people to run out and purchase. Everyone probably has a white pants and a white shirt. And then
Okay.
we put on the necessary accessories for that particular costume. And
I
as you
never
know,
thought of it like that.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
more
yeah,
expensive. It's true. You
yeah,
can
it's the
find a
most
white pants and a
inexpensive.
white shirt. It's
Yeah,
true.
a white pants and a white shirt is inexpensive. And as you know, white sometimes the material repels the sun. As you know, Carnival is a time when there's a lot of heavy sunshine. People are frustrated, they're walking up and down. But the sailor costume is easy. It's an easy outfit to wear.
Okay.
Now, I may be jumping the gun here by telling you why sailor. Where did we get this idea of the sailor mask from?
Yeah, we know. You could tell me.
um,
You're
sailor,
telling everybody. You're educating us. This is what real life matters.
sailor was introduced into the carnival as early as 1880 when the British and the French and the American naval ship came to Trinidad, and they came and they were doing what you call a band parade, whereby the British had their version of sailors, the French had their version of sailors, and the American had their version of sailors. And they would patrol Tagarit Road, that's the street in Port of Spain, Trinidad. They will patrol Tagarit Road, and you would not believe what a beautiful spectacle that was. So what happened in those days? I mean, of course, I was not around in those days. This is what history told us. the band leader said, you know what? These people were patrolling for hours and they were not tired. They didn't seem to be frustrated. They seemed comfortable in their clothing. So immediately it became a, a thing for the carnival producers. You know what? Let's play the sailor mask. Let's bring
Okay.
this on to the carnival. Thus creating the sailor bands for, there's never a carnival where there's no sailor. And
Oh,
usually a sailor band is usually the biggest band because, again, as I mentioned, it's inexpensive. It's very easy to grab the costumes. It's not much work on it, and it can be done in a few hours, and you have a strong masquerader. Right now in the U.S., sailor is played by a group called All Stars, and it's one of the biggest bands. Everybody wants to play a sailor. You could come down to the parade, and the moment you decide you want to play a sailor, you grab a white pants, you grab a white top, we provide the hat and the accessories, and you're good to go. So sailor is one of the most economical and strategic section one can be involved in.
okay.
You know,
So it
sometimes
must be big because it's inexpensive. Because I've heard that over the years now, the costumes are just outrageous.
for our section you can get a sailor costume for as little as $200. And
Okay.
that's considered very inexpensive.
Yes.
And today, with the way the economy is going, everybody is watching their pennies. So Sailor is taking a lot of inroads, making a lot of inroads.
Okay. Wow. So do you have requests from any other mass camps and stuff that's to come to you and say, listen, can we incorporate the sailors in our band and stuff, or is that the only you only
Well,
work for Pacific?
Sailor is a section that attracts more older folks. You usually find
Oh,
older folks playing the Sailor section because many people do not want their body to be exposed as the conventional mask exposes your body. And you find older folks do not want to expose their body. And they will play a sailor mask because it covers the whole body, but you're not hot and you're not humid. You're not sweating the whole day because of the type of material that is used for the sailor. So it's a
or
mask.
are you gonna be adjusting the thing because the thing coming apart?
Exactly. Oftentimes, when somebody has a conventional costumes, by the time they reach the end of the parade, half of the costume is gone. But with the sailor, you always maintain. And a unique thing about the sailor mask, they use powder. And I'm telling you, when you are sweating and you take that powder and it cools you down. So for
Wow.
a mask like sailor, it's what's called a win-win situation. And nowadays we have gotten so fancy with the sailor, we have what's called King Sailor. And King
Okay.
Sailor has a lot of addition to the actual costume, the actual white pants and white top. King Sailor
Right.
has a lot of attraction to it. And then we have Fancy Sailor. And as the name says, Fancy Sailor, that's when you put on all those extra things on it if you want to really go beyond. But it's a
Okay.
beautiful, beautiful spectacle. And
So you don't
sailor,
ever change the costume from white to black or
yeah, we
different
do.
thing?
We do. We sometimes we use what's called sailor cap, uh, and then we use what you call like a captain cap. Sometimes we put different epaulets, different buttons. You can change the
Oh,
different
okay.
colors. So it's something that it's not an eyesore because if you become very creative, you can make your sailor a thing of beauty, and people will say, "My goodness, look how they look." It's white, and
Ah!
white matches with pretty well any other colors. We've had blue, we have had black, we have any color you can think of. You've seen sailor wearing it, and then they've changed it. Sometimes the women wear pants, or they can wear skirt, or they can wear short pants. So it's a variety of clothing you have for the sailor costumes.
So do you help other people who put bands together and sometimes they may not have the costumes and stuff, or
Well, I have traveled across the U.S. helping other band leaders create their sailor costumes, and I'm not only first dressed in sailor costume, but in all type of costumes. I
Okay.
myself, I have done a bit of bending wire, but that's something that's fading away. And by bending wire to create the big headpiece that you see
Oh
sometimes,
my.
and some of the plumes and stuff. So those are some of the skills that I've had as a mass person growing up in my beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, I played mass once.
Only once. You got to be kidding me.
No.
At Barbados. You're from Barbados. And you're
Yeah,
still
my
playing
family.
mass?
Yes.
No, I've played mass numerous times, more than I care to count. And when I'm not playing mass, I'm in the band helping out with the music or helping out organize different sections and stuff like that. Uh, I've been in Canada since the early 17, and I've never missed a carnival in Trinidad.
Oh my
There
gosh.
was
So
one
you're
time
the first one there. So you go from Christmas or you go from January?
I go from the beginning of January. There
Yeah.
was one time we were actually hitting every carnival in the Caribbean.
Wow.
Every island that had a carnival, we would attend to it because we loved it. Because carnival for us, again, is beauty. It's beauty. It's entertainment. It's joyfulness. So we pursue that aspect of life because when you get to laugh and you get to enjoy yourself, it's healthy, as you have mentioned earlier on.
Yes, it is.
So
It is.
for your audience, they should get involved in the carnival and the caravana and the mask making. Um, so it helps them laugh. Sometimes you'll go to the mask camp and someone will give you a joke, right? And that joke would stay with you for a long time. And sometimes you will sit back and you would laugh at things people say to you or people mention in the mass camp. So again, it's also a way of helping people to enjoy their life. And
Wow. So
oftentimes, go ahead.
so
Sorry.
are you preparing for next year now already, or are you?
Well, we have plannings in the making for next year, yes, but we're more concentrating on this year event that is coming up on the weekend on
Okay.
August the 3rd.
Okay. All right. But you
So
go to any other ones that they're celebrating, any other festivals other than the Toronto one? You go to when it goes to like Miami
yeah,
and New York.
I have actually been to pretty well most of the big uh, events, carnival events in North America. I've also been to Notting Hill Carnival, and I love it. I love this culture. I love the entertainment. You see, it's fun when you sit back and you hear that beautiful steel band music. I mean, it's to me, it's the greatest show. It's actually
Right.
the greatest show. So for us Trinidadians and for a patriot as myself, wherever there's carnival, we try to bring out the best that we can, the best. And
All
as
right.
you know, steel band, which always accommodate or is part of the carnival, it's a beautiful instrument.
All right. So
Beautiful.
you have any shout outs that you want to give your people over the years?
Yes, if you want to get, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but if you want to get in touch with us, I can easily say the number you can reach us at.
Yeah, yeah, you could do that after in a minute. I just
Okay,
asking
okay,
if you
okay.
want to give any shout outs to any people.
Shout out to my friends in Trinidad who's probably listening to the show, and my friends in the US who also knows me very well and who knows that my contribution to the whole mass industry. Hi to you guys.
Oh, all right. Well, Arthur, so if people want to get a hold of you or follow you or maybe, consult with you to get their costumes done, where can they find you?
Yep, they can call me at 289-314-1715. I will repeat 289-314-1715, or you can shoot me an email, Arthur Augustine at me.com. My first
Oh,
and last name at me.com.
okay. Well, I do want to thank you. It was very educational how you explained how everything came from and how all the history and what part you played in history of all this and bringing, and telling everybody what a section leader does, because a few people probably don't know. They probably hear of it, but they probably don't understand what that role is.
Hmm. So, as I said before, the boss, I thank you very much for having me on your show. I think you're doing a great job. Keep on doing it, and I'm one of your fans.
All right. So I do want to thank you, and you'll be back next year earlier before the time. So,
Yes, ma'am, for sure. 100% sure.
all right. So thank you everybody for watching here with Arthur Augustine, the section leader for Toronto Harmony All Stars. Of course, he's Trinidadian, the Sailors, and he
And the
does
man is
much more. So,
wonderful.
reach out.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. And good night and bye for now.
Okay, now.